Hello. Finally, the missed video. Maybe someone has waited for it. There's a lot to talk about in this key, so I was holding off on it because this is going to be a long one. There's going to be a lot of talk about mind control and the individual mobs. I think it's low-key a difficult key for priests. I think for DPS and for tanks, this is kind of an easy key, but for me as a healer, I think it's honestly, it's not hard to heal, but I think it's hard to survive. So we're gonna jump straight in. As always, radiancing once before the key starts, trying to stack my Grimbatol trinket. This first pull is pretty uneventful. If your tank is dwarf, they will generally remove the first two debuffs by themselves from the cleaver, so you don't have to do it. Saving me a GCD there. Oh yeah, our Shaman dies here. I don't know if you knew that, but when the small ads explode, there is like a damage taken debuff on the remaining mobs. So actually, I think the correct way to play this is to kill the small mobs as quickly as you can, so everyone else takes more damage. Okay. Then of course here the Mindsuit skip. You can also do this with Ring if you're a monk, or with, I think warlocks can skip this too. I mark already the mob that I'm gonna mind control. We take the mushroom here for more main stat. I think we remind Suf here. Then we might control it. And I'm focusing the caster here. I don't want to focus one of the big mobs because I don't want to be... I want these mobs to trigger at the same time because this makes it easier to heal, right? So, and I think the caster is actually kind of annoying. So I'm focusing that. What I do in this key throughout is I will call every time my mind control runs out. Yeah. This gives people the opportunity to either stun it or slow it, so I can re-MC it safely. I'll pop a pain sub on myself here in every dev CD I have in order to lift this. Once this key is over, I will talk about a little bit more about the mind control macros I have, so stay tuned for that. I just don't want to interrupt the video now to do that. And what I do here is I leave the mob out now. I don't re-MC it immediately because this is a little bit of a tech, which is that I actually don't want... I want a clean mind control if we pull the boss, because 30 seconds, around 30 seconds after we pull, the boss casts his dot that stays until you kill the tree. And I don't want to re-MC during the dot. I want to do it before. And ideally, you also get this evoker ability, which name I just forgot. The breath that makes CC durations longer, you know. Oppressing Roar. I'm always kind of terrified to heal this boss because the dot portion of this fight can be kind of spicy. You can get interrupted during your penance. Sometimes your radiance just doesn't hit everyone. Sometimes they forget to tremor. The shaman forgets to tremor totem, or it doesn't work for some reason. So kind of spicy, this boss, honestly. So here I go straight into my healing rotation, making sure to reprimand as I move, smite, using a Shadow of Death in between. And I get interrupted mid-penance here, so not good. I should be already pressing Fade here. So now I go into my second rotation with just a Mind Blast, making sure to like spend my Raptor charges in between. You can also call for like a netty AG here, and by netty I mean that it's just one that without Ascendance, so it doesn't do as much healing. And here the boss gets phased, and if you pay attention, he will get the debuff very soon from my ad, and it explodes with the breath, which is huge damage. And that's a decent push. Can be even better, but... And also take note here how I move the mob out when I have to re-MC it. I will do this a lot during this key. Because I don't want this mob to whack me in the face. Especially during the dot part of this phase. Or of this fight rather. It can just one-shot you. You have to re-MC. And I get the pressing row here, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm holding the Shadow of Death for when I have to move. This phase looks a little bit better healing-wise. Oh yeah, the Shaman is using his HG here. And before we phase, I'm gonna pause. I should have paused before, but here. I don't know, you can see it on the top left. I have actually two Smite macros. The 2 is my normal Smite keybind, and I have the ability from the Mind Control macro in so that I don't lose any cast, because sometimes this mob is kind of buggy. Like you send it on a... I don't want to press the attack, the keybind for... actually, there's no keybind for me for that. Sending the mob to a target. Like I only have the ability bound. So this makes it so every time the mob is aggressive and I press Smite and the ability is ready, he will cast his debuff. By that, you don't lose any casts, basically. Because before I did that, I only had my normal Smite macro and he just wouldn't cast it for some reason. Like sometimes he would on CD and sometimes he wouldn't. But obviously that's not ideal. Also, I didn't do it in this key, but you can min-max this a little bit more. You see the breath icon here from the Oakwoker. And ideally you want to have the debuff up when the breath explodes. And of course, before that as well, because it does more... everybody does more damage when the debuff is up, it's 20%. And then the breath also explodes for 20% more damage. I'm not sure if it actually double dips like that, but let's just assume it does. And I think in this fight I actually didn't really pay attention. I just kept pressing 2, even though I have a normal Smite macro as well on 1, which I should have swapped to mid-fight as to... and also put the mob on passive as to not get the debuff on the mob right before we're phasing on the tree, which I'm probably targeting at this point. That's some very min-maxy stuff, though. That's not needed for an 18, and it might not even be needed for a 19. That's like 20 TGP stuff where you will... people see do really min-max the debuff when they apply the debuff, like 8 seconds before the... or rather 7 seconds before the Oakwoker breath runs out and stuff. Since this video is not for these people, someone who has timed this on 19 or 20 will not need my video to to optimize the damage on this fight, right? It's for people who are doing like 15s or even lower. Just know that you can optimize this, and if you want to do it, there's a way to. Okay. And ideally you kill this mob here, or before he gets immune for the next dot phase. So here I will have to pause as well. As you know, there are 3 paths, right? And the second boss goes to the right. So the evoker is going to pre-pull the right pack. If he's going middle or left, teams, if you're doing the mind control, might ask you to pull the middle pack. Playing the middle pack with these 2 defenders is actually much easier because I think there is no Fox in it, and there's also no Guardian, and I think the Guardian buffs the other mobs or something. So this is actually the easier pack, while the right one is the hardest. Generally, you pray that the mob never goes left, the second boss, the Mistcaller, because that's the hardest pack in the key. It's 2 wolves and two defenders. Talking about the defenders really quick. The defenders have this nasty charge, and you can actually Night Elf this charge before they cast, then they just recast it on someone else. Or if you Night Elf mid-flight, mid-charge, then it goes on CD and you don't get damaged. I'm not sure if I do it this key, because they're very quick, so you have to be really quick with your melding. Yeah. And on an 18, you need at least Fade. At least Fade or Flash LDR to live this. And Druid actually has a very easy time to survive this because they can't just bear form. And I think the Shaman gets whacked here. I'm not sure by what, but if it's the Fox or maybe did that by aggro, I'm not sure. I'll try to make sure to pre-shield, but this whole section is going to be a little bit hectic. He gets a charge here and has to bleed 2, so I'm just kind of throwing everything in the kitchen sink. Yeah, like my Raptor charges, I'll bury as well. Yeah, I think I melded even here. And also making sure to handle my re-MC, so this is why I hate this dungeon. It's actually really stressful, and it's very easy to die if you miss just one of your death CDs. I think in a 19 the Fox actually, even in an 18, kills you through Flash LDR and Fade. You need a shield as well. So what Prot Paladins are like almost trained already to do is when there's a Fox pack, they will sack you in the beginning. Or if it's a double Wolf packs, Fox pack on the left here, they might even give you Bob. We gamble here going to the left side because I think it's actually just as fast to gamble here because there's only 2 ways. And we go right. I think this is the best path you can have because apparently there's only one legal way where the thing where you have to go. I'm still opting to do the maze here. As you can see, it's very stressful. I'm like kind of tracking the mobs, whether they like here the stinger is gonna fly at someone and I have to dispel them, but I also get a charge, so I'm shielding them. And here now I get the charge, so I press Fade, and my mind control is running out, so I have to remind control. And also, of course, I also want to do as much damage as I can. I'm not doing a terrific job at that, but I'm doing fine. Like, there's people who do more damage, of course, but I'm really more concerned about not dying here. Here the Druid is low, he gets sacked, and I shield him, and it's gonna be fine. Yeah, and I did the maze here, even though there's only the left way apparently. And here I walk the mob out again and re-MC it. And we get the worst mini boss, which is this one. It's actually not that bad because, well, it's an HP sponge because he keeps healing himself, but like he's not as dangerous as. I mean, they're all not very dangerous. Honestly, I think the frog is the most dangerous. The animation, and he jumps around and stuff. So here I'm also doing the maze, which I wouldn't have to do. I'm just not trusting the thing, the weak aura, but I actually should have because I think there's actually only one way where you can go. Not sure though. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. You have to be very careful if you do stand on the outside and do the maze, because the breath has a lot of range. Area MC here. I should be calling for a pressing roar here more often. It's on CD here, but here's another Stalker pack, very dangerous. Stalker and a Stinger. So I'm choosing to press barrier here. And I think I'm calling for a sec. Not sure. No, I don't, but I pop Rapture. I get the Stinger here. And I Rapture myself for the incoming jump from the Fox. What I would suggest for people who are new to this, doing this as a priest while mind controlling and stuff, just play it safe. Like rotate your Fade and Flash Heal and Shields and watch them ups a little bit. Like, don't give too much of a fuck about, I don't know, keeping maximum Rift uptime with max empowerment stacks, and I don't know. I mean, of course you should do more damage, but it's so easy to die in this key, and I just wouldn't risk it. Because if you die here, oh no, my Discord again. If you die here, just close it. If you die here, it's very bad because the mind control also gets released. I call for a sec here because I know I don't have anything, and I actually get the jump, so it was a right call for me to call it. I would have died without the sec, by the way. I didn't have Rapture here, and Fate and Flash Heal is actually not enough. The Guardians are only dangerous for the tank, and not for the group, thankfully. And this is by far the best path we could have gotten. This is with this path you can do a 20. Or this is the path you want if you do 20 or 19, of course, as well. 19 is also difficult. So this fight. I mean, it's fairly straightforward, but as you see, I have to mob mind control, of course, and he will use his debuff on CD. What do I want to say here? You can see indicating that the line is indicating when the boss is doing his phase. And in my opinion, the worst thing you can do here is not have Mindbender ready if he does it, because you're greeding for damage. Sometimes you can get away with it, especially if you like, let's say the Shaman has Ascendance and AG here, or I don't know, you have a plethora of Death CDs, but it does a lot of damage this phase, especially if it takes a long time. So I just wouldn't risk it. And I'll pause quick. Now, you should. The Evoker can also grip you behind one of these, whatever is the right icon here. I see that it's full. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go here. My mind control is not running out, which is good, but it could be running out here. So you don't want to stand. You actually kind of want to stand on the outside and either walk your mob out, or you want to be positioned in a way where you, I don't know, can safely remind control if you have to do that. And ideally not next to a fox that is chasing someone. And yeah, I don't know. This can be very spicy, and I think there's a situation that is spicy coming up. But, well, anyways, you can ask your Evoker there to like rescue you here in that case, which in hierarchies is almost every phase, or at least 2 out of 3 phases. I think I'm choosing to walk here. And here dodge the beams. We're actually hitting none of the arrows. So this is going to take a while. I got rescued anyway for the shield. Since this does more damage as the phase goes on, don't be afraid to pop your like Rapture here or Pain Salves. Like be aggressive with your defensive CDs here. Barrier is a little bit iffy because it kind of makes it hard to see if there's something like a line pointing to you or a fox if it's next to you. And here, because of the Bloodlust, we're actually very fast, and I'm like smiting. I'm only smiting, I'm not even pressing penance. So I get to reset my Mindbender as quickly as possible. And here I have to dodge, so I pop a Rapture as well until we know which one is the right icon. And now I pop my Mindbender and Mind Blast. But we are fine. My Mind Control is coming out as well. You see, I walked it here in the middle. So, and I also have to dodge here. So this is the situation I'm talking about. So here I have to dodge, otherwise I die immediately. And I also have to walk this mob out and re-MC it before it reaches me. And I also have to kind of heal the group. So I think I re-MC it now. And he gets 1 AoE. And I think I panic paints up someone because I'm afraid that it goes through. My Mind Blast was about to run out. Yeah, and that's the whole fight. So these are the situations that can come up in this key or in this fight. Just be aware where your mind control is at all times. Or at least how long it needs for you to re-MC. Do it again here. I think I have a combat potion ready here, but I'm probably not using it. Keeping it for the next pull. And again, here, I'm not even using Mind Blast. I just want to pop Mind Blast immediately when I'm done. I'm like not risking it, even though I probably could have used the Mind Blast here to push more damage. I don't care. Dodging here immediately, and this is empty, I think. Yeah. I have to re-MC as well. In this phase, by the way, if you're starting with healing in this phase, and I think I do it here, you can Shadow Death the actual boss. He's not immune, he just takes less damage, but you still get the full atonement healing, so that's a little tech that you can do. And I think I'll release the mob here for the Shaman to build stacks or for the Shaman to proc Tempest or whatever. So while this event is going on, so we can jump down, of course. We're just whacking them up a little bit. So here we'll re-MC. We sleepwalk this one worm, so we can walk through. Generally, while this pull is assembled, the mind control is gonna come out very soon. So I walk it out immediately as I get a little bit of distance and start DPSing. And the purple mob here, the Staghorn, is always gonna do a very nasty AoE. The poison is like kind of whatever you have poison totem for it, and a lot of dispels with a Moonkin and a Shaman, of course, and a Paladin. But yeah, the AoE, you absolutely should have Flash Heal, DR, and Fade up for each of those. And if you're like unsure, because there's like reavers, also the poison mobs also flying around, you can also pop like, I don't know, Desperate Prayer, for example. I think I do that here even. Yeah. I actually don't have Flash LDR here. Now I do. And of course, I focus the stack horn because that's the only mob that can kill you, basically. He stacks a debuff as well that makes you take more damage from him, but this is only like insurance policy for these mobs that you don't pull 2 of them. So if you pull 1 of them only, it doesn't matter. Here the AoE, we have Zephyr up, also pop Rapture, and I think the next one I will barrier probably. So you need to be your group needs to be very good at like rotating sack and rescue from the evoker. There's no stacker in these next 2 packs. What a lot of people will do is like they drag all of this to the boss and then just start it. I have 2 EMC here, so I will dismount and just do that. And now we're pulling the boss. I am very uncomfortable here to run with the pulk with my group. So I'll stand on the outside. I think this is technically bad. Yeah, because you add more puddles. But also they disappear after a while. I will join eventually. It's just in the beginning where you also get these little AoE zones and have to dodge the big puddles from the mobs that I don't want to do it. Because the Mind Link is going to get immune anyway from the Paladin. And it's actually very important that none of you takes damage while the Mind Link is going on. Especially not the big AoE from the boss itself that is going to do it 70%, because that can very quickly one-shot everyone. And I think I do something weird here, which is to not use a Mindbender here for the next 10%. I definitely could have, but I'm going to be real. I've seen a lot of people wipe because they like underestimated their Mindbender cooldown here, or how much they can smite with now being dragged and re-MCing and so on. So I've just played safe. It's an 18, it's not a 20. A 20 I would have. I'm already like sort of late here on my healing. I should have Radiance running up already. And I don't have Atonement on myself. Jesus, very bad. I'll fear the mob here because I'm on the wrong side. If I was in front of the mob, the MC mob would be behind. But because I'm not, because I'm behind the mob is, that I'm MCing is next to me. So I had to fear it. Generally, you will get a sack here, maybe even a spell ward. Mostly it's a shaman getting a spell ward, which is good, so you can do max damage. Yeah. As long as you have your full AoE healing ready and people are saving a little bit of damage, this phase is not a problem. But you need to have Mindbender up for this. Yeah, like this is not one of those fights where you just use everything on CD and hope that the healing is enough. You know, you save your Mindbender for this and your Mind Blast. I'm curious if I also save the Mindbender here. I do, because we have PI ready. I'm like internally a little bit worried because we just popped PI and his CDs, but the shield is just coming up. So I'm like, do we have enough damage for the shield now? So I pop Rapture, and so my setup here is a little bit better. It's a lot better, yeah. Didn't even drop. But we also had a lot of damage, actually. I'm seeing here. And now the rest of this fight is just me balancing the re-MC, trying to do max damage, and not dying, and not killing anyone by standing in front of the group or anything. So this key is already timed, of course. I mean, it's an 18 miss, it's not that difficult anymore. But I still didn't have it, so there you go. And that's all there is. I'm not sure if on a 19 or 20 you lost this boss. I don't think you do. Maybe you lost one of the shields, not sure. I get stuck here. You can also melt this, you can fear them, you can use your root. There's a lot of ways to get away from these little mobs chasing you. But yeah, here, this is very dangerous. I always keep a speed shield for this. Not feathers, speed shield. And I say this because if you're like grouped like that and you feather, it can happen that somebody steals it from you because they're on top of you. And that's very bad because then you're not going to have enough movement speed to get out. Yeah. So I just speed shield myself here every time. Okay. And now I think what we need is a double stack horn and 2 birds. Reavers, rather, they're not birds, but... So we're just kind of rotating everything we have. Since we have Lust, this is gonna die very quickly. I think the Druid will also have Spymaster stacks. So, yeah. I have to re-MC here. But other than that, there's not a lot of stuff happening. You're gonna get 2 AoEs soon in quick succession. And I think I'll also bury here, probably. I don't actually. It dies very quickly. I just paints up myself for no reason. Okay, and we killed 2 of these birds. Oh, the Soul Cleaver is running. And that's the key. Doesn't really change in a 19 or 20, I think. This is always going to be the last pull. You can pull like 2 birds before the first boss. Or 3, I don't know. But it's a little bit dangerous because you have a lot of these other worms. So you need to have Poison Totem ready and so on. Poison Cleansing. So yeah, as you can see, I didn't have this key for the longest time. Kind of embarrassing because it's actually not a hard key. But well, the timer was really good, as you can see, because we also got an easy maze. My damage here is good. You can do a lot more. I mean, I say a lot, I mean like 100k at least. But I'm going to be honest, I did what I could, but I knew it wasn't coming down to my DPS. In a 20 it would have, maybe. But not in an 18 and also not in a 19. Because I promised to do that, we'll do this here. 1 second. Oh, I'm locked out already, which is not good. Because my character was actually standing in mists. I wanted to show you some mind control stuff. The macros that I have. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I have new internet now. I got new internet, and so I'm also streaming now on Twitch TV/Neap. I'm probably not one of these people that stream like an absurd amount of hours, but if you're curious to see what I'm up to, then I'll be happy to say hello to you, and you can watch me game a bit. Okay, here's the Soul Cleaver that I already prepared. So these are the macros I have, right? I'll show them to you. Here on R, I have a simple move the mob here and also put it on passive macro. It looks like this. Where is it? Here. You can pause the video if you want to see it. And I need this for a lot of keys. I need this for Akara, I need this for this key, of course, and I need this for Necrotic Wake. I have a shift focus macro on shift focus on shift F is my focus macro, and on shift T I will mind control whatever is in my focus, and only that. Yeah. So if I have nothing in my focus, I will just mind control a target. This helps me a lot when I don't want to search for the mob, I don't want to click the mob, and I don't want to target the mob before I mind control. I just want to press Shift T and cast mind control. Yeah. Looks like this. I will post all these macros in under the description. It's probably easier for you if you want to copy them. What else? I think that's all. I also have another macro that's on Shift R, which is to release the mob. That's also important because sometimes you need to release the mob immediately. That's just /petdismiss. And now I want to show you how to pull this middle pack here. I hope I can do it a bit because I'm in normal. So I need to re-MC 1 second. Do it here. So you can't use the macro that I had on R, the MoveTo macro, to walk through the fog gate. You need to actually target the mob and then just press the tag button. I'm clicking it here. You can also macro that, and then you can also just use the soul split ability on them, and then like walk it back to you. And by that, you have all these mobs coming to your tank who hopefully will tank them because otherwise you die. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, and again on 2 I have to, well, another mob is dead. I have just macroed in the ability that's called Soul Cleave or whatever. And by that whenever I smite and that the ability is ready, he will also do his attack without missing it. Obviously, sometimes you're not pressing smite for a couple of seconds, so it's not perfect, but it's the best I can do. And you want to have max uptime on this thing. Yeah. Is there anything else to talk about? Not sure. I don't think so. This was very likely the last video of this nature where I'm like going over a key and talk about it. Looking back at the series, I really enjoyed it. Now, obviously, now that the season has progressed a little bit, I'm like looking at some of these videos and I'm thinking maybe I should have went a little bit more in detail about this, or some of this information is also not like perfectly correct anymore. Like maybe there's a better way of playing it now. Yeah, but also there's a little bit of a difference about how people play Disc Priest in like higher keys and how they should play it in lower keys with pugs. I personally advocate for people to play safe in lower keys or with pugs basically, while in higher keys you have Disc Priests like kind of using their stuff on CD, especially their Mindbender and Mind Blast, to push as much damage as they can, and then have people assist heavily with their own dev CDs and their own off healing to make you not hold these damage buttons so you can do more damage. But that's hard to explain in a video format because that's different from team to team. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I've played with a lot of teams now. As you can see, this is another new team because the last team also just stopped playing. And every team you will play with has their own like def CD rotation that they love to do, and you just kind of have to adapt to that. Yeah, as I said, I'm streaming now on twitch.tv/Niap. I also uploaded another video today of the 19 Dawnbreak I did, which I'm very proud of, even though it's just one more key level from the 18 Dawnbreak I did like months ago. But actually not a lot of EU teams have timed 19 Dawnbreaker, so I'm happy to have timed that. Yeah, make sure to watch that and give it a thumbs up. And with that I say goodbye.